Now, before officially opening the draft, let me advise you that each team selecting during the first round has a maximum of 4 minutes between picks. 4 minutes between picks to make his choice known. After the first round, each team has 2 minutes in which to make its selection. The draft is officially open. The first pick, first round, Dallas.
They went for the best player at the right time. They were kicking it back and forth with Isiah Thomas, but they felt they went for the best player. And they're starting to build their team from the ground floor down. They're going to take time. They're trying to build after the Dallas Cowboys. And they feel by doing this, they're going to have it made in a few years.
Mark Aguirre was an instant star in college basketball. He came on the scene with DePaul for the great Ray Meyer. He was an instant success as a freshman. He won every possible honor except an NCAA championship. And it's ironic that he is from the same neighborhood as the guy that's probably going to get picked second. Let's go to that right now.
1981 NBA draft took place on June 9th, 1981 at the Felt Forum.
The number one player picked in the draft, an undergraduate, and just a wonderful basketball player. And as I was starting to say before, I think it's ironic that he comes from the same neighborhood in Chicago, the West Side, that Isiah Thomas comes from. Steve Jones, by the way, standing by. Steve.
This is one of the most star-packed drafts in NBA
I'm right
history,
here with Jay Hammond.
especially early on.
But there's been a lot of talk about Isiah Thomas. Isiah Thomas, suddenly, why the switch to Mark Aguirre?
Well, we just felt that Mark was the best player available in the draft, and we wanted to go with talent. He came down and had some very good interviews with our front office and coaching staff, and we decided to go with him.
All right, Jay, thank you very much. Let's go back up to Jim and Lou.
Eddie Doucette's in our interview.
The first
area,
overall pick was Mark Aguirre, selected by the Dallas Mavericks.
Okay, we have the number one pick in the college draft, Mark Aguirre, the fine performer from DePaul, and he's a happy guy. Look at him here.
I'm very happy, very.
Are you ready to get out? What size hat do you wear? You got room for one of those Stetsons?
It is right here.
There he is, Mark Aguirre. Mark, Dallas has really opened up their arms for NBA basketball. There's a big gathering down there right now watching. I know you might want to say something to all those folks about the kind of basketball you're going to take down there to the great Southwest.
Hey, I hope that I can really do the things I'm capable of doing, and I would like to just enjoy my stay in Dallas and hope that we, within these period of time, we can obtain that ring that I would like to have.
It's a building situation. Are you a patient guy?
I'm very patient. I can wait. Good things come to those who wait.
I like that. And, of course, Coach Mata with a structured offense. Would you like to kind of turn it loose? Are you ready to play within the confines of what he's got to offer?
Whatever it takes. I think Coach Mata is a great coach, and I think that Mr. Carter is putting a lot of effort into it and really cooperating with Coach Mata, and everything's going great. I just hope that we can pull it off in the next few years.
Great talent. Mark Aguirre, number one pick in the NBA college draft, Dallas Mavericks. And we'll send it back to Jimmy.
So Dallas has some player, Mark Aguirre, and he's going to help build that into a great franchise. Now, the Detroit team picking second, they're not an expansion team. They've been around since the Fort Wayne Pistons. They've fallen on some tough times the last couple of years. They're looking for a player to help build their franchise. They have the second pick. Let's go to that.
Detroit picks 6'1", 180 pound, Isiah Thomas of the University of Indiana. Isiah.
Don't start the clock until he says the next thing.
I guess. Thank you. So I just walked down there.
Isiah Thomas, a youngster that is going to eventually become a lawyer. He wants very much to become a lawyer and work with young people, underprivileged people. As a basketball player, he was very rich. He was always a great talent from the streets of Chicago. And Isiah at Indiana did something that the second-round pick last year did as well. We're talking about Aguirre. He came off an NCAA championship year.
The No. 2 overall pick in the 1981 NBA draft was Isiah Thomas, selected by the Detroit Pistons.
He has a tremendous amount of talent. You can't coach talent. Talent allows you to coach. And when you get a fellow like this, he really makes you smart.
Before we talk about New Jersey, let's go to Steve Jones first. Steve.
Well, thank you, Jimmy. And very quickly, we have with me Harry. Harry, you pick Isiah Thomas. Of course, there's no mystery there. Will he really help your team that much, as the Pistons have a long way to go in their division?
Yes, our people that made the selection of general manager and coaches and scouts feel obviously he's the best pure point guard in the country and can do so many things, make the players that we have better ball players, and can't do it by himself, but can make those guys better players, make us a better team. We have another pick coming up in the first round, a 12th pick. Expect to get another fine player there, but also the added dimension that Isiah has with his charisma and his personality, the Magic Johnson flair that he adds to the game, that won't hurt us any either.
Well, certainly Detroit needs to get all the fans they can up there. I'm sure you'll do another good job on that 12th pick here in the first round. Let's go back up to Jimmy.
All right, Isiah Thomas picked by Detroit. Eddie Doucette's with him right now.
Isiah averaged 16 points a game. Isiah, do you think we can see a little bit more scoring out of you as a pro?
Whatever the coach wants.
Is that assist title a realistic goal as an NBA performer?
Yes, I think it's very realistically.
You're a young guy, perhaps the youngest guy in the draft. You had 2 more years of college eligibility. Law school's around the corner, right?
Just around the corner, a couple of years from now, but I'm pretty sure to be there.
You, like Mark Aguirre, very happy guys in a day like today. Any disappointment over possibly not being the #1 guy picked?
No, there's no disappointment at all. I think I'm in a great situation. I'm in a good situation. I'm very happy for Mark. You know, it's kind of like a package deal from the west side of Chicago, 1-2 in the draft, same neighborhood. I don't think it's ever happened before.
Not bad. Would you go down there and take Bobby Knight out to dinner now?
If he wants me to.
Isiah Thomas. He was picked by the Detroit Pistons, #1. Back to Jimmy.
All right, Isiah Thomas, 2 fine young men, Aguirre and Thomas, Aguirre and Thomas. And now New Jersey has the #1 pick. Last year, Louis, remember they had 2 picks in the first round, 6 and 7. They got Jaminski and O'Corn. Let's see who they picked #3 in the draft.
The New Jersey Nets picked 6'8", 225-pound Buck Williams of Maryland. Somebody from New Jersey, step forward, please, from the table.
All right, we have...
You can feel the excitement, Jim.
Yeah, we have some New Jersey fans here. And Buck Williams, the young man that I'm very familiar with, living in the Maryland area, played the University of Maryland. I mean, there's nobody that has a better attitude than this young man. He's a great athlete.
You know, fellas that go to the offensive board, that's a tough thing to teach. That's something that has to be within. And he just has that tremendous talent. He makes you look good because he scores when somebody else shoots.
I'll tell you another thing. There's some people watching on cable probably around Rocky Mount, North Carolina. Now, that's a little town in North Carolina. In the last couple of years, they've lit up the draft. A fellow by the name of Phil Ford was from Rocky Mount, North Carolina. And this man, Buck Williams, from Rocky Mount, North Carolina, University of Maryland. Watch Buck. Great intensity. A kid that came to play every night, and that's a coach's dream. Good off the offensive board, defensive board. And he's not a bad shooter from 10, 12 feet either.
And he goes 15 rounds every night.
Wanted him, he got him. All right, Steve Jones may have a comment on Buck Williams.
Well, Jimmy, the thing that Larry Brown really liked about Buck Williams is the fact that he's got that great desire, leadership, and also he could cover. That's Larry Brown's favorite word, cover. He likes good, strong defensive players. We'll see just how well he does when the season comes this fall. Back
All right, Buck Williams, the third player chosen in the draft, the third undergraduate eligible taken in the draft, and a fine young man in New Jersey with that wonderful new arena they have in the Meadowlands, a new coach in Larry Brown, and they're building a franchise there. Part of that franchise is sitting next to Eddie Doucette, and we're going to go to him in just a moment. Eddie, are you ready? All right, Eddie Doucette and Buck Williams.
Okay, thank you again, Jim. This is Buck Williams. He's 6'8½", he tells me, and he wants to stretch all of that right up on those backboards around the NBA. Number 8 in the NC2As this year as a rebounder. Rebounding's really your game, isn't it, Buck?
Very true. It's been my game ever since I was a youngster, and it's something I take pride in, and I'm sure that the Nets organization really used me in rebounding.
Tough decision to leave Lefty Drizel over at Maryland.
Very true, but it came down to a point where I had to do what was best for me, and I thought it was best by me leaving, and it's by me being a third pick, I'm sure it's really going to put icing on the cake.
You and your roommate, Albert King, I'm sure, has sat around many hours dreaming of this day.
Oh, very true. From listening to Albert, New York is the greatest place in the world, and I'm just glad to be here, and I just hope I can have some of the good experiences that he had.
Your Olympic coach was a good one, Dave Gavitt. He said if he had to make the pick, he said you'd be number 1.
Right, Dave Gavitt is a great coach, and I really enjoyed spending that summer with him, and he really taught me a lot about the game of basketball.
He's going to be there when they open up the brand new arena over there in New Jersey. It's going to be a sensational deal with Larry Brown, the coach, 3 number 1 picks. Buck Williams, number 1 pick, New Jersey Nets. Jimmy?
All right, thank you, Louis.
What a long way to go. I remember we played at the Island Gardens. We didn't have only but one shower, and now they're going to play in a tremendous arena.
All right, now we had a flip-flop as to one of those trades last night. Atlanta now will be drafting next, number 4. They flip-flopped with Chicago, who has now moved to 6. So the Atlanta Hawks, who have a new coach in Kevin Lockery this year, a kid from the Bronx here in New York.
St. John's boy.
That's right, St. John's boy. I knew you'd get that in, Louis. They have the number 4 pick in the draft. And let's go to the commissioner right now.
Could I have your attention, please? The Atlanta Hawks select 6'6", 200-pound Al Wood of the University of North Carolina.
Al Wood from North Carolina is the 4th pick, overall pick in the draft, the number 1 pick of Atlanta. Fine small forward in a draft that has a lot of small forwards, Louis.
Well, he plays for Dean Smith, and Dean Smith has had that knack of putting a lot of great players like Frank McGuire in the Big Ten. And small forwards specifically, I think Dean has a tremendous knack of getting the most out of those fellas. Just take a look how many of those fellas are in the
Walter Davis.
Tremendous.
Walter Davis.
Bradley
among
kid.
others.
The O'Connor kid.
Dudley Bradley. Mitch Kupchak, who's really projected as a big forward, but that's no mistake that Dean Smith keeps turning those kids out. And I know a lot of pro coaches look at a college coach and see what kind of a coach he is before they draft his kid. Well, if they look at Dean Smith, they look at one of the outstanding coaches in the country. Let's take a look now at Al Wood, who was no doubt one of the outstanding college players in the country last year, led his club to the NCAA finals against Indiana. But Al Wood is a complete player, Louis.
He does it all. Knows the game, can run, can jump, can shoot. And more important, he knows when to shoot.
Al Wood, the disciplined North Carolina education. It's also an unusual thing because a lot of the North Carolina kids come out being better NBA players because at North Carolina, Dean Smith keeps them within a team framework. And a lot of times, those kids have even more talent than you've even realized, and they come into the NBA sometimes and are even better players. I know that Steve Jones is out there somewhere, and I know he likes Al Wood. And Al, let's go to Steve right now about Al Wood.
Well, thank you, Jimmy. I'm hiding down here at the Chicago table and really trying to get the thought behind the trade. Chicago was in a position, Ron, to take the 4th player. Why did they switch?
They switched because they want to improve themselves for next year, too, and they thought they could get a good player this year. Hold on. They haven't picked yet.
Well, you got the thought right there. They're thinking more of next year than this one. Immediate help is not their concern. They will get a good player in the 6th pick. Let's go back to you, Jimmy.
Well, Atlanta got a good player now, Wood out of North Carolina, and he's sitting next to Eddie Doucette in our interview area, so let's go to them.
The man with a lot of hidden talents is the way they build this young man. Al Wood, 6'6". He's a fella that is really going to show some class when he gets into the NBA. And right up until this morning, Al, it looked like Seattle. What happened?
Yeah, that's true. I was thinking Seattle all along, but Atlanta made the swap with Chicago, which I was very happy. And they got 4th pick, and they called me this morning. They woke me up at 9:30 and said, pack your bags and get ready to come to Atlanta, and I was happy as I can be.
That puts you right next to home, doesn't it?
The Omni is approximately an hour and 20 minutes from my house, so I'm right at home. Atlanta's a great city, and I always wanted to go back there and play in front of the hometown people, and now I'm going to get a chance to do it, and I'm really excited about it.
Forward or guard as a pro?
Well, in talking to Coach Aguirre, he said that I would probably play some forward and play some guard, which is really good for me. It's good for them, too, because they get 2 players in one and get me, and I'm good. I'm happy about that.
Here's a guy that you're going to hear a lot about. Al Woods' his name. #1 pick, Atlanta Hawks, moved up to the #4 spot. Jimmy?
All right, Grand Hyatt Ballroom, we told you there was a lot of festivities here. Look at this crowd, great crowd here to watch the NBA draft, and so far it's been kind of predictable, except that trade that Chicago engineered with Atlanta switching the draft. People that are really mad about it are Seattle. Seattle wanted Al Wood, Lenny Wilkins wanted him, their organization. Now he's a member of the Atlanta Hawks. Interesting now to note who is going to be drafted by Seattle. Now, there have been some rumors, Louis, they like Tripucka, they like Woolridge, but there's so many players out there. You want to take a guess?
Well, I think that maybe like a fellow like Albert King, you know, Lenny Wilkins likes the New York style of play. And coming from this area, he may go for a Brooklyn young man. That's a possibility. That's what makes this draft so...
this is really the first unpredictable thing that's happened in the draft. Everybody knew that Aguirre would go #1, or at least the last day or so, and Thomas would go 2. Let's go to the podium and find out. The mystery will be over in a moment. See ya.
They're ready in the team.
All right, Seattle. I guess Seattle hasn't decided yet. Last-minute maneuvering. It's interesting. You saw a great shot of the crowd out here, standing room only at the Grand Hyatt here in Manhattan. And I looked out there and saw people like Kelly Tripucka, Orlando Woolridge, a lot of young men out there that it must be unbelievable. I mean, they're sure they're going to make a lot of money, but they're going to find out in a few minutes where they're going to be spending most of the rest of their lives, whether it's going to be in Seattle, Atlanta, Philadelphia, New York. It must be something for them sitting out there watching. I bet it's tougher to do that than stand at the foul line, 1 down with 2 foul shots. All right, let's go to Eddie Doucette.
Jimmy, I have a thought as we're sitting here waiting for Seattle to make their selection. They made a big effort to get Alex English. What do they do now by going to another small forward? If they do make a selection that way, does that mean that possibly Alex English will be traded, as we have heard rumored? Let's find out. Let's go back out to the commissioner, Lawrence O'Brien.
The Seattle Supersonics select 6'7", 212 pounds, Danny Brains of Utah. Danny.
Can really play.
Ladies and gentlemen, Danny Brains.
Danny Brains, picked by Seattle. Good pick. What do you know about Danny Brains?
Got an excellent outside shot. Gets down the court quick. Plays a good transition in the game, which is important for the professional because you're playing a 24-second clock. So that makes things change. A lot of these fellows in college play in a disciplined offense, and they may take a shot every once around the world. But with a 24-second, now you really have to get into that tempo, and Brains has that.
All right, well, let's take a look at Danny Brains. Picked by Seattle, the 5th player pick in the 1981 draft. Danny Brains, one of the guys that Marty Blake was talking about, one of the 40 deep players, 50 deep players in the draft. Let's take a look at Danny Brains in action. There he is, playing in the All-Star game, playing for the West Squad. 6'7", 210-pounder. Lenny Wilkins doesn't make too many mistakes. And so if Lenny picks him, Danny Brains can play basketball. The outside shot.
You have to have that in the pro ball. That's the big thing. Not too many layups in professional basketball with those big intimidators. So you need that outside shot. And when you start with that, you're on your way.
All right, Steve Jones, where are you? Wherever you are, come in.
Standing right up in the middle of the room, Jimmy. And, of course, Seattle very disappointed that they did not get Al Woods, so they take another forward. And Seattle has got a lot of forwards. We can expect probably to see another trade from Seattle. They now have Shelton, Alex English, if they can keep him. They've signed him as a free agent. Danny Brains to go along with some of the other talent they have. Will certainly makes them a strong team, and we can look for some other deals. Let's go in to Eddie with an interview.
Okay, Steve, thank you. We are talking with Danny Brains. And Dan, if Seattle had any kind of a thought about maybe going to a small forward when Al Woods was picked by Atlanta, they had to do a quick change of pace. You moved up a couple notches in the draft, but actually they've covered both bases because you can play both sides.
Well, I think I can. I think I can play big forward and small forward. Very excited about their decision.
Where did you think that you might come in the draft?
Well, I was hoping I'd go in the top 10. To be honest with you, I didn't have any really firm idea as to what team would pick me up. I think the recent trades and moves changed my position quite a bit.
They say that you've got great range all the way out to 18 feet. Do you consider yourself a more comfortable player outside or inside?
Well, basically, I've always played inside my college career at Utah, but I think I can make the adjustment, and I feel comfortable going outside, yes.
One of the footnotes by Marty Blake, the super scout, said this guy could play 10 years in the NBA. Barring injury, are you looking for that kind of a career?
Oh, sure am. I think everybody dreams of that.
All right, before this afternoon's draft, Atlanta and Chicago flip-flop. We've been talking about that. So Chicago now will have the 6th pick overall in the draft. Let's go to the podium and the commissioner. Chicago picking number 6.
Could I have your attention, please? The Chicago Bulls select 6'9", 215 pounds, Orlando Woolridge of Notre Dame.
Cousin of Willis Reed, played for Digger Phelps, and a young man that grew by leaps and bounds every year in college basketball.
Jimmy, his future's ahead of him. This fella is another fella that comes every night to play. He can run, he can jump. His outside shooting will get much better. He's not afraid to take the shot. The biggest thing is he bangs. When you play professional ball, you have to be able to bang every single night on those balls.
Now, you talk about his outside shot getting better, I agree, but there was one outside shot that didn't have to be much better against Virginia late in the year. He had a fadeaway shot at the buzzer, falling down the beat at that time, the #1 team in the nation. Orlando Woolridge, again, playing for Digger Phelps and Notre Dame, a youngster that I thought got better every year. I had a chance to see him a lot, Louis, and I agree with you. I think he's the kind of a kid that's going to even be a late bloomer. I think he's going to be a better player in 2 or 3 years than a lot of the kids that were better than him, say, 2 or 3 years ago.
But, you know, it's somewhere in the veins, you know. Willis Reed, he's got to be good.
Listen to the crowd reacting. They're seeing the same tapes you people are seeing, and the crowd is reacting to Orlando Woolridge going through a jamming exhibition. There really is excitement here in the Grand Hyatt Hotel. The NBA draft is a big number here in New York and also around the country, no matter where you might be watching. And we're told that 15 of the NBA headquarters are watching today's draft, so we welcome you to the USA Cable Network and the draft.
Kansas City.
The 7th pick is going to be Kansas City, but before we talk about that, we got to talk about Orlando Woolridge, and Steve Jones can't wait.
Always wait, Jimmy, but we're here with one of the representatives from Atlanta, and of course we're talking about Chicago, but what really was the final thought in making that deal with the Chicago Bulls and switching places?
I wasn't involved with the actual negotiations with Chicago, but I think it was the type of thing where both teams could benefit from it. We did not have a second-round pick this year. Chicago had a couple. We've got a couple next year, and they don't. So as far as the second-round picks, I think that was an important part of it because we have such a good crew of players this year that a second-round pick is going to be an important pick for us.
All right, Steve, well, thank you very much. I know that the future is important for all ball clubs. Let's go into Eddie Doucette with Orlando Woolridge, the pick from Chicago.
Okay. 6'9", Orlando Woolridge to the Chicago Bulls, and they are loading up with those big people. Orlando, even though you're your main prowess is on the board. You average a little over 6 rebounds a game. A lot of that due to the fact that Digger had you playing outside as well as in this past year.
That's right. At Notre Dame, we played a very motion offense, and in that offense, we had to, fill 5 spots. And, I don't want to try to find a crutch for my rebounding, but that was a weakness of my game. And, I know this. I accept this as a play, and I'm going to try to make it one of my strengths.
I don't think you have to find a crutch for your jamming. I think the folks that are out there watching it here at the Grand Hyatt love to see you go in there and put it through the net.
I'm going to tell you, I enjoyed that, too.
And why not? The Chicago fans ought to enjoy it a lot this coming year. You played a lot against a zone. This year you'll be looking against a man-to-man. That ought to give you some advantage with your quickness.
I think so. I feel more comfortable playing, fast break and a man-to-man style. And, whereas in college, you have those zones and everything is packed in. So I think this is going to be a great opportunity to just, open up my game.
Orlando, turn in those green and golds and get ready to go on to Chicago where they have the red, the black, and the white, and a fine coach in Jerry Sloan. Good luck.
Thank you. And I'll be close to the Irish, too.
I know you will. Orlando Woolrich, #1 pick, Chicago Bulls. Jimmy?
Fine young man from Louisiana. There's the Seattle table. Check at the Kings table. And they're going to have the next pick. Seattle to New York to Kansas City. As we told you earlier at the top of the show, Kansas City is going to have 2 picks in the first round. They may need it, too. They've lost Otis Persson. Of course, they got Cliff Robinson for him. And Cotton probably did a great job bringing the talent out of Mr. Robinson. If anyone can do it, Cotton can. But the next pick belongs to Kansas City. Let's go to the podium and Commissioner O'Brien.
Could I have your attention, please? Kansas City selects 6'10", 240 pounds, Steve Johnson of Oregon State.
All right, Steve Johnson of Oregon State. Now, a guy that Luke Carnesecca is very familiar with because the St. John's Club played them last year. He's a big, strong guy. They need him because Sam Lacey's getting a bit up in years, although Sam had a great playoff last year. What about Steve Johnson?
Well, I think you're right. They have to start to back up Lacey. And this young man, if you get him the ball in that position, it's 2. He's an excellent offensive scorer. And he can get up and down the court, too. When he makes the adjustment, I think he'll be an excellent NBA player because he has the one thing. He can stuff it. He can put the ball in the basket.
Also, already, Cotton Fitzsimmons has picked up Steve Johnson here in the draft, and he got Cliff Robinson last night in the trade. So he's got 2 young players ready to back up. And, of course, let's take a look at Steve Johnson. He had a lot of publicity this year and deserved it because that Oregon State team is just a wonderful basketball team. And you'll watch Big Steve, and this is the position that Louis is talking about.
Right. I know. He did a number on us.
What about him rebounding, defensive rebounding, and defense, Louis?
Well, this is something people always talk about. A lot of schools play zones, and it takes a period of adjustment. But once you learn to play NBA ball, when you learn to play basically man-to-man, I think he'll adjust.
All right, now, Steve Jones lives in Oregon, lives in Portland, Oregon, and he's seen Steve Johnson a lot, and I'm sure that he's got a word about him.
Well, I'm sitting down here, Jimmy, with Kansas City. They're still on the phone. They have another pick coming up in the fourth, in the 17th player. What's important about Kansas City, they established themselves as a big physical team during the playoffs. I think Cotton Fitzsimmons liked a big, strong player. Sam Lacey certainly is aging. Steve Johnson can play down and deep, give him that extra rebound to go along with Reggie King. Eddie Doucette is in the interview room with Steve Johnson. Certainly Steve Johnson's got to be happy about the fact that he's going to a good teacher in Cotton Fitzsimmons. Let's go to Eddie Doucette.
Good teacher, good guy, fun guy. Cotton Fitzsimmons, coach of the Kansas City Club. And Steve, great opportunity. You're going down there. Sam Lacey, who's been a fine performer for years, is starting to get into the later years of his career. And this is an opportunity for you to go down there and learn and maybe take over.
Yeah, I think it's a great opportunity because you have a team that has some youth in it. Now they traded for Cliff Robinson, and a player like Sam Lacey who's been around for a while. It'll give me opportunity to learn, and he can teach me the tricks, and won't have the pressure of coming and having to carry a whole team because you have a complete team around you.
You're a fella that didn't really start playing this game until you were a senior in high school. Had to sneak out of the house in order to do so, so you still have some way to go to learn it all.
Yeah, I think my best years of basketball still ahead of me. In Oregon State, we played a system as a role, and I was down low all the time, so people didn't get to see my total game. And I think the people in Kansas City are going to be pleasantly surprised to see that I can score from farther away than 3 feet.
That ought to be interesting. He shot 75% last year, all-time NC2A field goal percentage leader, Steve Johnson, #1 pick, Kansas City Kings. Back to Jimmy.
Marty Blake, who makes up the scouting report for the NBA, had Steve Johnson picked #1 in the center position, and he goes to Kansas City, the 7th man pick. Let's go back to the podium. San Diego will now have the next pick. Yeah, I think a good time for us, Louis, to go over what's happened previously. If some of you people are just tuning in, Mark Aguirre was the first player picked by Dallas. Isiah Thomas picked #2 by Detroit. New Jersey got Buck Williams, the great Maryland center, who they're going to project as a strong forward. Atlanta moved up in the draft in a flip-flop with Chicago, and moving up to the 4th pick took Al Wood, the great small forward from North Carolina. Seattle wasn't too happy about that, but they selected a pretty good basketball player from Utah, Danny Brains. Then the #6 pick, which was Chicago's, and they took Orlando Woolridge, a 6'10" forward from Notre Dame with unlimited potential, and the cousin, by the way, of Willis Reed, former NBA great. Just moments ago, Kansas City picked Steve Johnson, the mountain of a center from Oregon State. And so now they have Cliff Robinson, they got from the Nets in a trade for Birdsong, and now Steve Johnson. So they're pretty strong up front, building a great young team. And now we're waiting for San Diego to make up their mind, Paul Silas's team.
You know, you have to realize what goes on in the mind of the men that are picking the players on the team. I can remember, are we getting the right guy? Is this the guy that's going to do it for us? And you know, sometimes some of the best deals are the ones that you don't make.
Well, you know what? Let's talk about losing flips of the coin. In 1967-68, the flip between Detroit and Baltimore, Detroit wins the flip, then they take Jimmy Walker. The Bullets get stuck with Earl the Pearl Monroe. Okay, the next year, Elvin Hayes, San Diego, the Bullets, San Diego gets a flip. They take Elvin Hayes. The Bullets get Wes Unseld. Let's go back to the podium. San Diego.
San Diego selects 6'11", 240 pounds, Tom Chambers of Utah. Wild Town.
They need a combination of big forward and center. That's what they need.
Tommy Chambers. Tommy Chambers, 6'9", 220 pounder. He's actually from Boulder, Colorado. Went to high school in Boulder. Fine young man. He's a strong rebounder. Averaged 14.6 points a game. Average in college. His senior year, averaged 18.6. What about him, Louis?
Well, you know, San Diego has to try to recover from Walton. I think this is what they're trying to do. They have Swift Nader, and they're going to need some of the fellows maybe can go in 2 positions. He may be able to give him a little bit of power forward, and if there's foul trouble during the game, he can always slip into the pit and do a job there for a few minutes. So it's marvelous when you get a fellow that can play in 2 positions, and I think in this choice, he can do it.
All right, so now we've had Chambers and Brains picked from Utah, and Chambers should help the San Diego club, no doubt about that. And again, reiterating what Marty Blake said at the start of the show, this is a very deep draft. Marty also said that there's no player here that can maybe win you a championship immediately, but there's a lot of good basketball players, and Tommy Chambers has to be one of them.
I think he can help. I mean, he has the ability that's going to help, especially in 2 positions. That's a key. That's actually 2 draft choices.
As Al Wood was saying about being a forward guard, which another North Carolina forward pulled off this year, and Davis at Phoenix ended up being a guard, actually an outstanding small forward. All right, Steve Jones standing by.
Well, I'm here with Buddy Sachs, and actually they should be somewhere with the Thrillers. They took a long time to make their selection. Why did it take so long, Buddy?
Well, there were a lot of discussion there, but they really wanted Chambers all the time. They needed a strong power forward. They felt he was one of the best, and they wanted to back up for Sven Nader at center. Felt he could do it both ways. I'm just talking to Silas on the phone now.
Well, I'm certainly happy for Paul Silas. I know that he wants to get as many quality players as he can. Tom Chambers has been highly thought of. He is in the interview area with Eddie Doucette. Let's go to Eddie right now.
Okay, Steve, thank you. And while they took a long time to decide, I really think that they had in the back of their mind all the while, Tom Chambers, if there was any credence to that song, I Only Have Eyes for You, Paul Silas was probably thinking the same thing. He talked to this young man not long ago, did an extensive interview, and I understand that the rapport between you and Coach Paul Silas came off real good.
Well, I really enjoyed talking with Coach Paul Silas. He's really a guy I've respected for a long time, and I had an enjoyable talk with him, and I was really hoping that they would select me.
For the record, you're not 6'11", 6'10".
I'm about 6'10", a little bit over 6'10".
But you like to bang those boards, and you're looking at playing on both sides.
Yes, I am. I really am a power forward, and I hope to do a little bit of backup center also.
One of the notes on you was that you're a hungry player. And I know that doesn't mean necessarily food, even though you look like you like to eat, but you like to go out there and give the fans their money's worth.
I really would. San Diego's made me a happy person, and I'd like to make them happy for selecting me. I really want to go out and work hard and become a great player for them.
Well, I guarantee you one thing. All those good folks out in San Diego, Bill Westfall, Paul Silas, Pete Babcock, and Ted Podleski, are looking forward to having you. They're going to put together a winner out there, and you figure big in their plans. Number 1 pick, Tom Chambers, San Diego Clippers.
All right, the Grand Hyatt Hotel here in Manhattan, the Big Apple, the 1981 NBA Draft on the USA Cable Network, and the Dallas Mavericks, who made the first pick, started this whole proceeding about 40 minutes ago, and picked Mark Aguirre. I know we have a big audience in Big D watching, and I know they're anxious to find out who their next pick is going to be, and it's coming up right now, the 9th pick in the draft to Dallas.
The Dallas Mavericks select 6'6", 190 pounds, Rolando Blackman of Kansas State.
Yes, I'll talk about that.
Rolando Blackman, Kansas State, rated the best big guard in this draft by Marty Blake, and I know you know about Rolando.
First of all, he's from Panama. Number 2, this is a marvelous player. This guy can really play, and when he gets that little more experience, he's going to be a marvelous player, not only for the fans, but players that like to play with him, because when you're open, he gives you the ball.
Rolando Blackman of Kansas State, and he's an outstanding young man, and together with Mark Aguirre, they're going into Big D, Dallas.
Larry Brown, I think, would have loved to have him. I think Larry Brown really was interested in getting this play.
But Dick Motta has him. Dick Motta has Aguirre, and now Blackman. All right, Steve Jones. All right, Steve Jones is about to get into position. Let's take a look at Rolando Blackman. You do this, Louis, because I know you love
Well, I'll tell you, here's a fellow that started out in high school. When he came out of high school, no one even knew about this fellow. And as he went to Kansas State, had a very fine freshman year, and each year got better and better. He's the kind of fellow that comes to learn every day. Not to play, learn. A lot of fellows just play, he learns.
All right, Steve Jones. All right, Steve, let's go to you right
now. Well, Jimmy, I'm down here with Dallas and Jay Hammond again. And Jay, that selection probably brought up a bigger cheer from the crowd here in New York than the Aguirre selection. Certainly, Blackman is going to give you that big defensive guard, possibly some small forward help. Is that what the thought was in making that selection?
Right. Also, the shooting guard to complement Brad Davis in the backcourt. We feel we needed some scoring punch from that position, and Rolando can give it to us. We think.
Well, I know that Rolando Blackman will be a big addition for the Mavericks down there. Certainly your team looks like it's going to grow leaps and bounds, and they're going to do better than 15 games they did a year ago. Let's go in the interview area with Eddie Doucette and Rolando Blackman.
Okay, Steve, this is Rolando Blackman. Take a good look at him. Good-looking young guy. In addition, he looks like he could be a model and do some fashion for some of those clothing stores down in the Dallas area. Rolando at 6'6". In addition to being a fine defensive player, you shot 53% from the floor. And the one thing that they said about you was that maybe you were a little unselfish. Can we see a little bit more shooting from you as a pro?
Well, that's fantastic. That's what the coach wants. That'll be easy for me to do. No problem.
Rolando Blackman, and we've heard a lot about you. You came down here from Kansas State University, and I would have to say that perhaps if there was another note on Rolando, it would be that maybe you were a little underrated. Did you ever feel that you were an underrated college player?
Well, a little bit underrated because we never got the exposure out there in the Midwest as you do in the East and the West, and it was just a thing where it was a little bit of a hindrance, but I think I get to show my worth when I get out there on the court.
I guarantee you're going to like those people down there. Great organization. Norm signed you, Rick Sund. They're building. You're part of an exciting future, and they're going to love you down at the Reunion Center. Let's go back to the commissioner, Rolando Blackman, another #1 pick, Dallas, the commissioner, Lawrence O'Brien.
Could I have your attention, please? The New Jersey Nets select 6 foot 8 inches, 195 pounds, Albert King of Maryland. Ladies and gentlemen, Albert King.
All right, how about this? Albert King out of Brooklyn, picked by the New Jersey Nets. That's kind of local, all right? But what about going to the same team with his roommate, Buck Williams? Buck Williams and Albert King going to Larry Brown.
I think that's tremendous. I think it's going to bring them a little closer, even closer than they are. And plus, they'll be able to read each other. They've played together. So I think it's so important when players have played together. That's what makes a team, the ability to play over a period of time so they can meet each other's moves. By the way, this is a very, very unselfish play.
Well, all right, we're going to take a look at Albert King, but interesting to know that Albert's stock went down just a little bit this year. He didn't have the kind of a year that he had in his junior year, but I don't think there's any doubt about it. Albert King is a great basketball player, and I don't know what it is about the New Jersey Nets, but they love ACC players. Last year, their first 2 picks were O'Korn and Jaminsky. Now it's Albert King and Buck Williams from Maryland. Maybe it's because the ACC plays pretty good basketball.
I would think so. I think that's
Larry Brown went to North Carolina.
And they know they play very competitively down there. I think that's one of the basic reasons. He is familiar with the league, having good friends in that league who gave marvelous advice.
Larry Brown missed on Moses Malone. When he was a young kid in high school, he told me, this kid's going to be the best. And certainly Malone has proved that out to be. He said the same thing about Albert King. This time he didn't pass up on him. He's got that guard forward combination, and King, he can play both those positions. He's a great passer. He can also defend a lot better than people have thought he could. He's in the room now with Eddie Doucette. He's going to go with a great teacher. He'll learn very well. Let's go to Eddie Doucette.
Steve, they can't break those old roomies up, as they say in college. They've got Buck Williams and Albert King going to the same team, and it's kind of a homecoming for Albert King. Here's a guy that grew up in the area, and look at here, right back home.
It surprised me, but I'm honored, and I want to thank Larry Brown and just the whole New York Jersey organization for picking me. And I'm coming back home, and I hope I could just, so I didn't do very well for them. And now me and my roommate, we'll be back together again.
Albert, they said that you had a subpar senior year, and that perhaps your confidence had waned a little bit. Do you want to answer that?
I really don't think that was the case, but I'm looking in the future, not in the past. I'm going to work very hard. Just that's something I think everyone's going to be very appreciative of what I do.
You had a lot of pressure on your entire career, as a matter of fact. When you came out of high school, colleges all over the place coming to you. You had to make the big decision to go to Maryland. Pressure while you were in college at the University of Maryland. Do you think there'll be that additional carryover pressure now coming back home before a lot of the home fans?
No, I think it's just going to be a challenge. I'm going to have a little edge. I have the home crowd with me. I'm sure they're going to cheer me on, and I'm just looking forward to the season. I had my fingers crossed that I could play with the Nets, and now I'm going to get that opportunity. I'm following my brother's footsteps. When he came out of college, he went to the Nets, so I just thought I could do as well as he did.
You and your brother get to go one-on-one again.
It'll be nice. It'll be interesting. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm just glad this stays here and it's over with.
Albert King, sensational. Another #1 pick, New Jersey. Now back to the commissioner of the NBA, Lawrence O'Brien.
Could I have your attention, please? The Washington Bullets select 6'1", 175 pounds, Frank Johnson of Wake Forest.
The Bullets picking a guard, as they did last year when they picked up Wes Matthews, #1, later traded him. But they picked Frank Johnson, a great, quick little guard from Wake Forest. Louis, you know about him.
Yes, he's a great, great player. I'll tell you what, the Washington club is on the rebuilding stage. And there again, they're going to try to get the best player that they can get at the time. And you can see when they start trading away their old players for draft choices, it's been set. They're looking to go that way.
It really is a brand new franchise. For the last 12 years, they've been one of the winningest teams in basketball ever since Wes Unseld came there. Now they are rebuilding. Let's go to Steve Jones to talk about their draft.
Selecting 12,
Coach, we want you to take it easy about talking about those old players. I came out of there myself. I'll tell you one thing, Washington is changing. They're going to go for some quickness. Frank Johnson, an excellent guard, had an excellent tournament over in Hawaii. He should do well at Washington. We don't know if he's here, so we'll come back to you at the desk, Jimmy.
All right, again, the Bullets, it started all with Wes Unseld in 1968, maybe the year before with Earl Monroe, 67, 68 draft. Then they got Elvin Hayes. They went to the finals in the NBA, lost 4 straight to Milwaukee. Then they lost 4 straight to Golden State in 75, but they won it all in 1978.
To have your attention, please. The New Jersey Nets select 6'5", 195 pounds, Ray Tolbert, Ohio State.
Ray Tolbert from Indiana, I believe that should be, not Ohio State. Ray Tolbert from Indiana. The Nets, their 3rd pick in the 1st round.
Well, there's another great pick.
I think so.
Oh, and is he going to show up that inside game?
Ray Tolbert is a center. Now, he played center, but he's really projected more as a power forward. But he can play the middle a lot like the guy that was picked earlier by the Nets, Buck Williams.
You know, every team needs a stopper. You know, everybody's looking for the score. But there's some nights you need some stoppers, either a guard or a forward. That's what Tolbert will be. He played for a guy that, you know, lives and dies by the word defense.
Bobby Knight, of course. Ray Tolbert, again, and again, I think he's like Loader in a way. I mean, people know who Tolbert is, but he was on the team that had, you know, Isiah and a great Indiana, and maybe some people overlooked him. I know a lot of NBA scouts liked him. He's a very physical kid, like Buck Williams. He comes to play every single night. He plays a good defense, and so the Nets now have 3 guys in the 1st round. They picked 3 pretty good basketball players. Steve Jones. They picked 3 pretty good basketball players in this 1st round. Albert King, Buck Williams, and now Tolbert.
You know, they have a slogan, and of course I'm always weary of teams that make slogans, new era, but with head coach Larry Brown, they're going to be a very good team. Brown is a lot like Billy Martin. Wherever he goes, he wins. You can be sure that they're going to do big things over the Meadowlands. Jimmy, it's going to be exciting over there.
All right, I know the people back in the great city of Los Angeles are watching this telecast, and you'll be happy to know that Chick Hearn, one of the all-time great broadcasters, is here at the LA table, along with Jerry Buss, who signs all the checks. They're down at the LA table. Now they have the next pick. Los Angeles has the next pick in this draft, and Mr. Buss is here. All right, now let's go to the commissioner right now.
Could I have your attention, please? The Los Angeles Lakers select 6'5", 195 pounds, Mike McGee of the University of Michigan.
Mike McGee out of the University of Michigan. He's been a star as a freshman at Michigan. I mean, from the very go in that tough Big Ten conference. What about him, Louis?
His instant offense. He reminds me an awful lot like a junior Bridgman. He can get that good jump shot, can drive, very aggressive. I think he'd be a perfect 6-man. By 6-man, not that he couldn't start, but that guy who gives you the lift when you need it. When things are not going well, to give you a lift, to put more, so we say, oomph, and I can use that word, I'm dating myself, into your offense. I think it's an excellent choice.
All right, Louis, standing by the guy that's going to sign Mike McGee's checks, Jerry Buss, along with our Steve Jones.
Jerry Buss, all of the talk down in Los Angeles was power. Get somebody that can rebound, and you end up getting a guy that can fill up the hoop. What's the thought behind that?
Well, we felt that we needed some scoring strength off the bench. Obviously, you know, we have 7 thoroughbreds there that can score, but after that, we didn't really have any bench scoring strength. So once Herb Williams was gone, our decision was to go with Mike McGee.
All right, so what we can look for Los Angeles in the future rounds here in the draft is somebody that can help them on the board?
That's right. We'll probably look to the power forwards, but when you get down to this level in the draft, you really have to go with the best athlete. You can't go to position. You can go to position higher in the draft, but not at this stage.
Phoenix now has the 20th pick in the 1st round. But let's have a look at Mike McGee now. You heard both Buss and Louis tell you the McGee's instant offense, so let's take a look for ourselves.
You see, when you look at a player like McGee now, he just talked about trying to shore up their bench. There's so many times in professional ball when some of your players get hurt, and if you have a fellow that come in and give you that lift, it's tremendous. Because when you're playing, 80 games, people often like to talk about the difference between professional and collegiate ball. He to have to play 80, 100 ball games if you get into the playoffs. So I think it's very important to get a player who can give you that lift when you need it.
Especially playing with a good club, with Jabbar getting the ball and Magic Johnson able to get the ball. He'll be releasing and getting a lot of layups for those Lakers. Eddie Doucette has a comment. Eddie?
Jimmy, as we move along in the draft, first of all, back to New Jersey, I want to be at that training camp. That's going to be something else. Now, with the addition of Buck Williams and Ray Tolbert, this leads to further conjecture as to what's going to happen with the big man, Maurice Lucas. And I know that New Jersey will be in a position where they might be able to make a deal in another position to strengthen themselves. Something to keep in mind. Mike McGee, perpetual motion, outstanding individual, great player. You talk about heart, 120, 130%, running all the way up to 200. That's what you've got there. They're going to have a hard time staying up with him. Now, as we move ahead to Phoenix, the next pick in the draft, this is the one that has had everybody on the back burner because no one can figure out what Phoenix is going to do. Possibly Howard Wood, big man from Tennessee. Possibly. We don't know. There's talk down there about the chance of maybe moving Chuck Robinson. If that's the case, then Howard Wood might be a good pick for the Phoenix Suns. Nance is available, the 6'10 kid. There are also other people like Williams and Lister, the kids from Arizona State. So Phoenix has kept everybody in suspense, and we're looking forward here to see what the Phoenix Suns, Jerry Colangelo, John McLeod, and his staff are going to do. They have been just outstanding in the way they have structured that organization. They have a finely tuned, knit organization, and the man they pick will have to fit in there. It's like a little piece in a puzzle, so we'll have to wait and see who it is. Should be good. Let's go back out front and pick it up.
They go for some people no one ever heard of. They go for Johnny Highs and Alvin Scotts, but they always turn out to be players. Let's see what they go for this time. Phoenix Suns picking number 20 in the draft. Thank you, Eddie. That was a very concise observation. Steve Jones is out there milling around the floor, winking at all the pretty girls. I don't blame him. Or they're winking at him. I want to thank, by the way, Bob Schmidt and Communications Technology Management for providing satellite services along with the USA for certain NBA teams who are watching this around the country. They're watching in Denver, Utah, Indiana, Kansas City, Detroit, Golden State, LA, Washington. Dallas is out there watching us, San Antonio, headquartered at the UA Columbia offices, Philadelphia, Phoenix, San Diego, Portland, at hotels, wherever you might be at in this great country of ours. Welcome to the 1981 NBA Draft from New York's Grand Hyatt. All right, we're going to go to the rostrum. Commissioner O'Brien, he has the 20th pick. First round.
The Phoenix Suns select 6'10" Larry Nance of Clemson.
Well, Eddie kind of hit that one, said maybe they'll go for Nance. That's exactly who they went for. Larry Nance of Clemson, a physical type.
There again, they always try to get their needs, and over the years, Phoenix has done a tremendous job, as Eddie said, of getting the right player. They look for a specific. They don't look for the junior. They look for a player that's going to fit into their particular needs, and they've done a tremendous job.
All right, Larry Nance, Phoenix, picking 20th.
Your attention, please.
By the way, just looking ahead now,
Milwaukee.
O'Brien telling you, Milwaukee Bucks will have their first selection in the first round, then the Philadelphia 76ers and the Boston Celtics. So those are the next three picks coming up in this first round. Larry Nance has just been picked by McLeod, Bianchi and company, Colangelo. They do such a great job. They have the second best record in the NBA this year behind, or was it the third best record, behind Philadelphia and Boston. A tremendous organization in Phoenix from the first moment. And let's go to Steve Jones right now.
Larry, you know, the Phoenix Suns got beat up somewhat in the playoffs by the Kansas City Kings. Did that have some of the thought behind their selection in Larry Nance?
Well, I think we just took the best player that was available at the time, and this fella is really big and he's quick. I think he was the second biggest rebounder in their history, and we just think he'll add tremendously to our overall play.
In Milwaukee viewing this event also, and I know those people back there are very anxious to find out what Coach Nelson and his staff are going to do. A lot of work, a lot of preparation, as is the case with all these teams. They need a backup center for Bob Lanier, possibly Lister, the big kid from Arizona State. Howard Wood, power forward, could help them on the boards. Also Jay Vincent, outside chance, the kid from Michigan State. Look for one of those three names. Milwaukee wants to get some board strength. They're looking to the future, backup help for Bob Lanier. Should be an interesting pick. Good luck, Milwaukee.
Good luck, Milwaukee. Well, that organization has done it with a lot of hard work, and talk about great draft picks and trades over the years. They built that club. They lost Jabbar, right? They built that club right from the bottom. Let's go to the draft.
235 pounds, Alton Lister of Arizona State.
That was definitely the thing that they said they were looking for a backup center, especially with Lanier coming down the stretch.
So Alton Lister is picked by the Milwaukee Bucks, and he is picked as a backup, as you say, to Bob Lanier. But that's an important choice, and he's not just a backup there, because Lanier has had some injury problems the last couple of years. He may be projected for more than that. Alton Lister is picked, and tell us more about Alton Lister, Eddie Doucette. I know that you've been reading up on him.
Yep. Yeah, Jimmy, as a matter of fact, Alton Lister is a fellow that perhaps has been improperly maligned at times throughout his college career. If you talk to his own coach, Ned Wolk, the gentleman down at Arizona State, he'll tell you that Alton Lister is a fine player. Up and down at times, perhaps lacking consistency, perhaps at times not playing with everything that he has, according to those who have covered the team. But his coach says that if he had to make a selection of all of the centers, he would have to consider this man right up there in the top 1, 2, 3. He's 7 feet. He's got a lot of poundage. He can bang the boards. He will fit into a role in Milwaukee where he will be, as you said, the backup and perhaps the heir apparent to Bob Lanier when Bob decides to retire. Now, he'll have an opportunity to work with one of the very best. Lanier is a good teacher. He's good with young kids, and just by watching, Lister should learn a lot. If he wants a future in the NBA, he's got a great opportunity in Milwaukee. It's up to him now. Let's see what happens.
All right, Alton Lister played at Arizona State. He's a native of Dallas, Texas, so he'll be coming home for at least a couple of games this year. Alton Lister. Louis, what are your comments on Lister?
Well, I think he's perfect for that club. You know, as you said, with Lanier being hurt many of the times and aging, they try to keep him for the big games, for the playoffs. Lister is going to get the opportunity. And when you have a person of that size, he's going to get experience quickly. I think that was a perfect choice. Sometimes you talk about perfect choice, that was a perfect choice.
They talk about the have-nots getting well in the draft in every sport. Well, last year the haves got pretty well. The Celtics got Robert Parrish through the draft, of course, in a trade, and of course Kevin McHale. But the Philadelphia 76ers, who played that great series against Boston, picked up a fellow by the name of Andrew Toney in the first round. Now it's time for their first pick, the 22nd pick in the first round, the Philadelphia 76ers.
You know, while we're waiting, I can just look at some of these young players out here. Today, not too rich, tomorrow. The nice car, the beautiful clothes. Isn't that a Cinderella story? It's a tremendous comment on society, how it can happen, just because they bounced that little boy.
6'1", 165 pounds, Franklin Edwards of Cleveland State.
All right, Franklin Edwards of Cleveland State. Now, Franklin Edwards, he's an area youngster, so
yes,
I know.
He's from Julia Richmond up here on the east side of New York, originally where I came from. Now, here's a young fellow that was not really recruited out of the New York area. Went out to Cleveland State, and he really got a good scorer, a good penetrator, can hit the 12, 15-foot jump shot. The type of guy that when the ball game comes down and it's important who's going to take the last shot, this kid will take it. To me, I would put him in the class of a tiny Archibald, although doesn't penetrate as much.
Well, now, are you a little bit surprised? Let's speculate here,
yes.
Because now Philadelphia is very strong in the backcourt. They have a Maurice Cheeks that seems to penetrate a lot, and we're going to be taking a look at Franklin here in a moment. But are you surprised that maybe they didn't go for a big man? Because there's been rumors that maybe Daryl Dawkins might be on the block.
Well, that's possible, but you know, I think one of the worst things you can do is try to break up a team. And you didn't win it last year, but you didn't win it because of one ball game. Don't throw the whole thing. Don't burn the house down just because there's a little dirt in the corner. So I think they try to get a guard. I think that was their problem. I think
all right, now, in effect, though, Franklin Edwards, although he's a good shooter, he is a point guard as well. He's a penetrator. So what they're really doing is they've got insurance. Can't have too many good players. I mean, and there was some sickness involved with Maurice Cheeks during the playoffs last year. They've got a kid that can come off the bench now and play basketball. They've got Toney who can play the shooting guard as well as the other guards. So they have a lot of depth.
He's
right?
a smart New York type of player, a playmaker. You know, it's a funny thing. The playmakers that come from the big city seem to make better playmakers. Isiah.
All right, that's right.
Tiny Archibald. It's amazing.
Speaking of playmakers, there's Steve Jones over there. Steve?
Well, John Nellen, he's one of the assistants at Denver, and certainly he's not a playmaker. And they, you know, we were talking about the haves and the have-nots, and we're down to the haves right now. And Denver does have not a pick in the first round. So what are you doing here, John?
Well, Steve, we're going to take the best player we can. We don't pick until 34. So we're just going to take the best available player.
Well, now, that is a situation that will hurt some teams. You need to draft very badly this year with the chance of possibly losing Alex English. Some of the talent that you had a year ago, James Ray, has not come around. Do you think that your team is going to benefit from this draft at all?
Well, we hope to. I mean, we're hoping we can get a player that might slip down. That we, you know, James, like you mentioned James Ray, we're hoping that he will come back for us, and we're going to treat him like a first-round pick. He's coming along fine, and hopefully he'll be back playing next year.
All right, well, let's hope that his knees are okay. Let's go up to Commissioner O'Brien with the Boston pick.
Your attention, please. The Boston Celtics select 6'5", 220 pounds, Charles Bradley of Wyoming.
Charles Bradley of Wyoming, another one of those sleepers.
The old redhead.
What about
the old redhead sleeps with one eye open. Really, he does.
Are reminded.
All right, let's talk about Charles Bradley. What do you know about Charles Bradley?
Well, you know, he's the brother of the other great North Carolina Bradley. And the Baltimore. He's the kind of kid that does it all. Can score, can run, can jump. And I think he's going to fit in with that Boston team, especially in the running game. He likes to get out there and can fill those lanes. He's a perfect choice for Boston. Again, these last couple of choices have been just pinpoint.
I remember talking about getting a last pick in the first round. The Celtics have had that a lot. Back in the early 60s, they picked a guy that a lot of people didn't think was a very good offensive player, but last pick was John Havlicek. They didn't think he could shoot. He could at Ohio State because he had Noel and Lucas and all the other guys shooting, and Siegfried, but they picked him in the last pick. And now here's Charles Bradley. Well, I don't know if he's going to be another Havlicek, but the redhead does pick a guy that can play basketball, but that's what Marty Blake said at the top of this show. He said there's a lot of guys that are going to come here late in first round, all through the second round, that can play basketball, and Charlie Bradley is one of those.
Here he goes. You know, we're coming down to the first round is almost over. Ooh, look at that shot. Off balance.
Slipping.
That's right.
Looks a lot like his brother, actually. Built a lot like his brother.
Good spin moves.
A lot of good basketball players coming out of that Baltimore area, too, the last couple of years.
Tremendous. Good size. Look how strong he is to stand the beating that you take in the NBA. People don't realize the physical strength that is needed when you go to the well every night. 4 games in 6 days.
Yeah. All right, now we have now completed the first round. Eddie Doucette, I believe, is standing by. Is that true? Eddie, you have something to say? Go ahead, Eddie.
Yes, I do, Jimmy. As a matter of fact, the Commissioner, Lawrence O'Brien, will be coming in here shortly. We want to get a reaction from him. I think it's important to note right now that in the first round, Houston, New York, San Antonio, Denver, Golden State, and Cleveland did not get a pick. Now, that's something to keep in mind because those teams are going to have to find other ways to build from the second round on. In the second round, Boston will add to the pick they just made, which was a good one in Charles Bradley. They'll have 2 high picks in the second round. Actually, they'll have 3 picks in the first 31. Kansas City also, so they'll end up having 3 picks in the first 29. So you keep an eye on Kansas City, Boston, in addition to what New Jersey has already done. Dallas will have 2 picks in the second round. Chicago, a couple picks. Los Angeles, a couple picks. And in general, you're going to find that there are a lot of good players left here because of the depth of this draft in the second round. We mentioned Howard Wood, the big man from Tennessee, can play center or forward. We also mentioned Jay Vincent, and I really think that there are going to be some good players picked. Some guards, Burns, the young man from St. Louis. We'll look forward to seeing those. The Commissioner of the NBA is with us. While we get him seated, we're going to throw it back to Steve Jones and come right back to talk with Larry O'Brien. Steve?
Well, quickly, a comment, Eddie, about this second round. I think it might be more important for some of these teams and the teams that you listed because some very good players are going to be available in that second round. And a lot of second-round players turn out to be very, very good players. And the one that surprised everyone a year ago, Larry Smith, certainly someone is going to be looking for Larry Smith out there. You've mentioned some names. It'll be interesting to see how the teams select. A couple of teams have multiple picks, and again, that will key what they do, especially in their coaching philosophy. We're going to go back to Eddie Doucette, who will visit with Commissioner Larry O'Brien.
Okay, Steve, thank you. Commissioner, I've been around this league 14 years. I like what I see. I see great growth. I see some real quality, some class. There were some fine players in that first round, and I know you've got to be excited with the way it went.
Well, we're all excited. As Marty Blake has said repeatedly, there's a tremendous amount of depth here and talent in this draft. I think it's as good a draft perhaps we've ever seen, Eddie, and I must say that here and across the country where everyone's gathered, it's an extremely exciting day for us, and we have the largest crowds of fans ever for this draft.
Are you proud of the growth of this league, Commissioner?
Oh, I surely am. I've been around now for 6 years, I guess it is, Eddie, and I've seen this growth consistent over the 6 years. I think the league has clearly established itself as the major league of basketball in this world today. Our champions, the Celtics, the world champions, and that's the way it is. And upward and onward, we're not stopping. We've got the base, we have the growth potential, and we're going to continue to just grow in fan appeal across this country and indeed the world.
If this fan appeal continues and the interest in this draft continues the way it has this year and last year, you think we might move this to Madison Square Garden next year?
Well, it looks like we're outgrowing every ballroom that we've been able to locate here in the New York area. So I don't know about next year, but it's become a tremendous event, and that's very, very pleasing to all of us. Many of our teams today, as you know, are participating directly with you folks, with us here, and that's all to the good. So thousands of fans across this country are in person at events such as this, and then we have tens and tens and tens of thousands watching on USA across the country. So thanks to you and everyone concerned, we're just having one terrific day.
Our pleasure. I know that it's a happy day for all these #1 picks. It's a happy day for you, the Commissioner of the NBA and the NBA office, and as you said, onward and upward.
Mark Aguirre, the first player picked by the Dallas Mavericks, Dick Motta, reunited with Chicago. And I say that because when Motta left Chicago, Aguirre must have been 14 years old on his way to go to Westinghouse High School. They get together in the Big D, and they should do some big things there. Let's go through now on the crawl, if you will, and let's take a look at all the first-round picks.
Thank you all for watching this video. I know this change had come very soon, and I'm really trying to grow this channel to be the best channel that it could be. So if you could subscribe, that'd be great. And we're really trying to grow this channel to be more broad and to have a wider audience, and some more draft history can be out there for you. God and the Lord bless. Sports Draft History is out.